Very nice. Here we are again. Yes, it is once again the weekend and we are live across YouTube once more for this super duper wonderful, amazing. I've almost run out of superlatives. It is, well, it's me and you, hopefully, together again, coming to you live from the birthplace of the English language. Yes, it is English Addict. And we all know what that place is. We know where we are. Well, at least I do anyway. Yes, coming to you now live from England. Dippy 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 beep beep. Hi everybody, this is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you happy? I really hope you are feeling happy today. I'm not too bad, thank you very much. Can I just say thank you for your lovely messages concerning my hay fever. It is not too bad today, and to be honest with you, when I think about all of the problems that exist around the world, my hay fever doesn't seem all that important, to be honest, when you think about it. So even though I'm suffering slightly, I'm not suffering as much as some people are, and I suppose I should be thankful for all of the things that are going well. I think so. My name is Mr. Duncan. Oh, it's gone. Come back. My name is Mr. Duncan. I talk about the English language, and that's what I do right here on YouTube. I do it quite often, in fact. I've been doing it for ever such a long time. Do you know how long? 15 years this year. I'm not joking. This year, 15 years I will have been on YouTube doing this. I was the first English teacher ever on YouTube. Look it up if you don't believe me. So I talk about the English language, and that's what I do basically. We talk about it because we are all English addicts. We are crazy about the English language. I love it so much. In fact, I hope one day we will be able to legally marry the English language. I want to have a big wedding, and next to me will be all of the words that exist in English, and we will live happy and content forever and ever. I really hope so. Lots of things coming up today on this live stream. Yes, we have made it all the way to the end of another weekend, and we are also coming up to halfway through the year. I can't believe it. Yes, we are almost halfway through 2021. It's Sunday. Yes, we are back together again, and I hope you are feeling good today, wherever you are in the world. And everyone is welcome. You are welcome. You and you. In fact, all of you are welcome here every Sunday and also every Wednesday from 2 p.m. UK time. If it is your first time, please let me know. Please say, "Here, Mr. Duncan. It's my first time here on your live stream. It had better be good, or else we'll have some trouble. I'll meet you outside in your garden, and we will have a bare-knuckle fight." Okay, I will try my best to be entertaining. I hope you will be enthralled by this. Enthralled. Oh, I like that word. If you are captivated, something you can't take your eyes off. You can't look away. You are enthralled by it. Bewildered. It's amazing what I'm looking at the moment. I can't believe it. I am completely enthralled in what you are doing. So I hope you are. The live chat is on. We are talking about something very interesting today, a subject that does come up quite often. We are talking about bravery, being brave, or I suppose another word we can use is courageous. Ooh, I like that word very much. A person who is brave, a person who is courageous. We are looking at words connected to that particular thing later on. And there are many ways of describing a person who is brave, who has courage. But what about you? Would you say that you are a brave person? We will be talking about that in a few moments' time. We have Mr. Steve here. Yes, Steve is back. He's been very busy in the garden. Once again, we will be taking a look at what Steve has been up to in the garden. He has been very busy over the past few days doing all sorts of things. And also, I mentioned something last Wednesday. Did you see me last Wednesday? I don't know why, but it seems such a long time ago. Wednesday, I was with you live, but I don't know why. Last week went by very slowly. It feels as if last week was very long, and I have no idea why. Perhaps it was because I wasn't feeling very well. Maybe not. But I was with you on Wednesday, and I talked about a news channel that launched last Sunday here in the UK called GB News. And the GB stands for Great Britain. It is a channel that has caused a little bit of controversy because it does tend to lean more towards the right. So it has caused a little bit of a stir because its opinions are a little bit more outspoken and a little less unbiased, let's just say. Oh, I like that word as well. Lots of interesting words coming up today. Biased. So if you are biased, it means you favour a certain thing. You would prefer to talk about that thing. Or maybe you will give favours to a certain person. So you will always treat them well, no matter what they do. You will be biased towards that person, or maybe that group of people. So this news channel launched last week, but already a lot of people are talking about it, not because of its views, not because of the things they are discussing, but because of their technical problems. Very interesting. So most of the people commenting on the new channel are actually talking about how bad all of the technology is that they are using. They seem to make so many mistakes when they are talking. Sometimes people can't be heard because their microphones are not working. Sometimes the camera is pointing in the wrong direction. So there have been many technical difficulties during the first week of this particular news channel. And it suddenly reminded me of a very interesting phrase that we can use to describe problems that you are having. We can say that you are having teething troubles. It's a very interesting phrase, teething troubles. If you are having teething troubles, it means you are having problems during the start of something new, something that you are beginning, quite often involving machinery or technology, something that you are trying to use. However, it is not going very well. It's not going right. You are having lots of problems. So we can describe those problems as teething troubles, problems you are having whilst starting something you are trying to do, but at the start you are having lots of problems, lots of difficulties. They are described as teething troubles. I remember when I first started doing my live streams way back in 2016, when I started doing live streams, I had lots of teething troubles. You can also say teething problems, things that are going wrong at the start of something new that you are beginning to do. So this particular news channel is having lots of technical problems because they are new. They have just started doing the thing they are doing. We can also say that something is it is off to a bumpy start. If something has a bumpy start, it means it has a difficult beginning. The beginning is not going smoothly. Instead, it is going bumpy. It means you are having lots of difficulties, lots of problems, teething troubles, teething problems. You could say that it is off to a bumpy start. That means things are not going well. You are having lots of difficulties, lots of problems as you begin to do something new. So I thought those were both interesting phrases to use if you are beginning something, if you are starting something off for the first time. And quite often when you begin something new, there are many problems that you have to overcome. We often describe this as adversity. Another word that I love so much, adversity, can be your greatest enemy, but also it can be your best friend. The difficulties you have when you are trying to do something, the things you have to overcome, are often described as being an adversary or something that is not going right. So something that is difficult, something that is not going as planned, can be that thing. So I always find that those problems can actually make you stronger in life. You might have difficulties, you might have problems that come along, and then you have to overcome them. You have to get through those difficult situations. But of course, if you do it, if you overcome those problems, you normally find that you get a little bit of extra strength as well, and maybe you learn something new. So adversity can be something that is very useful, even though when it is happening, it's a real pain in the neck. But it can be a very good thing. Facing difficulties, facing problems might also be described as bravery, being courageous. So quite often, if you are doing something and you know that that thing is going to create a lot of problems, like doing this, for example, doing this is not easy. It looks easy, but it isn't. There are many problems, many difficulties that must be overcome. Quite often, every week, there is normally a new problem to sort out. So that's the way it works, you see. Sometimes having difficulties, sometimes having problems in your life can actually be a good thing, because if you overcome them, you also gain strength as well. Talking of things that are sometimes not going very well and sometimes going very well, we have the live chat. Hello to the live chat. I haven't ignored you, don't worry. I am here and I'm talking to you live. Don't worry about that. Hello to the live chat. Who was first today? I wonder. Let's have a look. Oh, you. Yes, I'm talking to you. Vitas. Very good. Very nice. I can see that you have been resting your finger. Your finger is feeling extra strong. I think maybe your finger might be stronger than Superman. I think so. Well done, Vitas. Guess what? You are first on today's live chat. Again. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you are feeling good where you are in the world. We also have, who else is here today? We have Christina. Hello, Christina. We have also Palmyra. Monicia. I love your name, by the way. Monicia. It almost sounds like I should be singing a song. Monicia, I'm saying hello to you. Monicia. Something like that, anyway. Hello also to Flower. Hello, Flower Espoir. I haven't seen you for a very long time. Welcome back. Nice to see you back with us. Colin Perez Hassan. Hi, Mr. Duncan. I have something to tell you. When you come to Mexico, you have to visit me because I will prepare some tacos for you. And anyone who wants to come are also very welcome. You are not going to believe this. We had nachos with chili last night. Something a little Mexican. Can you believe that? So I do, and also Mr. Steve also does enjoy chili. We like spicy chili, we like chili beans, we like things that have a lot of flavour and a little bit of spice as well. And yes, wow. I must be honest, if you want me to come and see you and you have some delicious food waiting, all I can say is you don't have to wait very long. I think I might leave now if I could, but of course we can't. Unfortunately. But thank you very much for your lovely offer. Wow. It's making me feel hungry, to be honest, because today I have had nothing to eat. I've been so busy preparing this, I forgot to actually eat some food. Oh, we also have Luis Mendez. Hello, Luis. Nice to see you here as well. We also have Lacarandi. Hello, Lacarandi. I hope you are feeling good today, and I'm saying hello to you now, live on YouTube. Adele is here. Hello, Adele. Max Pro, or should I say Max Po? Hello to you, Max. Where are you watching? I wonder. I don't know, you see, so please let me know. Where are you? Hello also to Mysterious Person. Hello. Mysterious Person is a mystery. That is why they are mysterious. Very mysterious indeed. Something like that. Hello, Mysterious Person. I like your accent. Thank you very much. I have a British accent. I'm not American. A lot of people still wonder. They say, Mr. Duncan, where are you? Are you in America? I'm not in America. I'm in the United Kingdom, Great Britain, England, which is part of Great Britain and also part of the United Kingdom. Talking of which, oh dear, a lot of people here in England are not feeling very happy. Did you see the match on Friday night? England playing Scotland in the Euro Cup contest. I don't want to call it Euro 2020 because I don't want to say 2020. I don't want to say 2020 ever again, except for then, when I said it then. But that's it. I'm not saying it ever again. So the Euro football contest. England did not score any goals, unfortunately. Very embarrassing, in fact. I think so. We are talking about being brave today. Bravery. Doing something that requires a lot of courage. Something that you might say requires some courageous act. To be selfless is to be courageous. But what about you? Would you describe yourself as courageous? Would you say that you are a courageous person? When we say courageous, we mean a person who shows or acts in a brave way. They do something brave. They do something courageous. So what about you? Have you ever done anything courageous in your life? Perhaps one of your neighbours was in trouble. Maybe their house was on fire. Maybe someone nearby was having some difficulty. Maybe they were being attacked in the street and maybe you stepped in. Maybe you joined in to help them, to fight them off. You did something very brave, something courageous. I remember when I was teaching in China, I once had to do something very courageous. I might tell you about it later on because I sometimes get complaints, you see. Whenever I talk about my time in China, some people do say, Mr. Duncan, you always talk about when you were teaching in China. And sometimes it's very boring. Okay. We will see. But I did do something many years ago very courageous that I still can't believe that I did. And that's what happens sometimes when you do something courageous or brave. Quite often you do it without thinking. You do it on impulse. You do it without thinking. So sometimes bravery is something that happens without any planning. You just do it. Maybe you see a person in trouble and you just help them. You step in. You do something to help them. You show courage. You do something that is courageous. So what about you? Would you describe yourself as a courageous person? Let's have a look, shall we? On the live chat. Oh, we have a lot of people here. Oh, Pedro Belmont is here. Hello to Pedro. It's nice to see you here. So what happened in my school? We had a guy who came to teach in our school, and he was from Canada. Now, I have nothing against Canadians before anyone accuses me of it. I have nothing against anyone from Canada, so please don't get the wrong idea about this. But there was a guy from Canada and he came to our school to teach, and he was an awful person. He really was. He used to get drunk in his dormitory and then he would wander around trying to get into the area where the female students were sleeping. I'm not joking. He was a little bit crazy, to be honest. But he used to get very drunk, and sometimes he would turn up in the classroom drunk. So because can you believe it? I was actually the assistant to the president of the school. No one knows this. I've never mentioned it before because I don't like to show off. But I was actually promoted to the assistant to the president of the school. And also, can you believe it? I was also the vice dean of a training centre for teaching both young people and also adults as well. So those are two things that I did when I was in China. I don't like to show off because sometimes it's not a good thing to show off, but that's what I did. So this crazy guy was going around the dormitories. He was harassing the young girls. He was being a little bit crazy. And so one night I had enough. I couldn't take it anymore. So I banged on his door. I banged and banged. And he opened the door. And I was so angry. I told him in no uncertain terms. He really did understand what I was telling him because I was very angry and I felt really annoyed. But I said to him, you must stop what you're doing. You must stop harassing the students. You have to change your behaviour or else you will be out of this school and I will be the one to make sure that you leave. And I did that because I was so annoyed. This person was becoming such a pain in the neck. So that's what I did. That's what I did. And about a week later, he was fired from the school. We told him to leave. So a moment of bravery. I still can't believe that I did it because anything could have happened. He could have come out with a knife. He could have hit me. But instead, he just stood there completely shocked because he wasn't expecting anyone to stand up to him because he thought that he could do anything. And this is one thing I always came across when I was in China. There were a lot of people from the West, a lot of Western people who believed that they were somehow superior to the locals living in the place where I was working. So this is something that I came across quite often, this arrogance that a lot of Westerners, especially from places like the United States, they would come and they would visit China and they would work there, but they would also have this feeling of superiority as if everything they did was better than the people in China. So just a little thing, you see, just a little thing that I wanted to mention. So I did do something that I think was a little brave, courageous, but also maybe a little stupid as well. Because the guy could have done anything to me. He could have attacked me. He could have beat me up. He could have thrown me out of the window. But sometimes you have to do these things. Sometimes you have to stand up for yourself. You have to make a stand. You have to do something because you can't take any more. So I would say that that was a brave thing that I did. Anyone else? I'm getting lots of compliments today. Thank you very much. Beatrice says, Mr. Duncan, can you please pronounce honest? Honest. So the letter H at the beginning is not really pronounced. You don't say honest. You say honest. 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 I hope that helps you. Tomek is here. Hello, Tomek. I'm sure in your life you have done something very brave. And you can't say getting married, because getting married is not brave. A lot of people do it. Oh, by the way, it's Father's Day today. Here in the UK, everyone is celebrating Father's Day. It is Daddy's Day. So if you have your dad or your father nearby, give him a call. Give him a call from the next room. Give him a call on your telephone. Send him an email if he's very far away. So it is Father's Day today here in the UK. So happy Father's Day. Mr. Steve is coming up in a few moments, but I thought we would have a look at one of my full English lessons to have a little break so I can rest my throat, because we have a long way to go. We still have 1.5 hours of this. Here it is. This is an excerpt from one of my full English lessons. This is taken from full English number 27. And then after that, yes, he is here. What will he be telling us today? What will we be talking about today? Well, we are going to talk about courage, but also other things as well. Mr. Steve is on his way. Oh, there you are. I've been waiting here for ages. Where have you been? Welcome to another full English lesson with me, Mr. Duncan, coming to you from the birthplace of Johnny Rotten, Phil Collins, Billy Idol, Ringo Starr, and of course the English language. I love English so much. I might actually marry it one day. Mr. and Mrs. English. We will be the most elegant guests at the ball. I can see it all now. What a wonderful feeling. Oh, sorry. I drifted away there. I went into a daydream. I became lost in my thoughts. Okay, without any more fantasizing or daydreaming, let's get on with today's full English lesson right now. Here's an interesting word that relates to a common form of human behaviour. The word is passive-aggressive. A passive-aggressive person is someone who uses non-direct resistance as a form of protest or as a means of reacting to something. A common form of this behaviour is the action of pretending to misunderstand or feign confusion. You avoid confrontation by acting dumb. Non-direct confrontation can take the form of silence. Avoiding contact or refusing to speak to someone can be described as passive-aggressive behaviour. It is common for those in long-term relationships to develop patterns of passive-aggressive behaviour. The word passive is often used to show a submissive state, whereas aggression is often seen as being the opposite. Some see this word as an oxymoron. Two words that are used together but have opposite meanings is an oxymoron. Passive-aggressive behaviour is generally seen as a normal part of human interaction. However, it can sometimes be linked to certain personality disorders. To avoid responsibility or conflict in a non-compliant way can be described as passive-aggressive behaviour. It's now time to take a look at another buzzword. A buzzword is a word or phrase that is used often during a certain period of time. Today's buzzword is tariff. The word tariff can be used as a noun or verb. As a noun, the word tariff is a form of taxation or charge which is added to the sale of goods imported from overseas. If China wants to sell their goods to the USA, then they will have to pay tariffs on what they export. The amount of each tariff depends on what types of goods are being sold. High-end or expensive items tend to have a very high tariff attached to them. Luxury items such as cars and valuable commodities sold overseas, such as oil and steel, often carry heavy tariffs. The charge is added as a way of collecting the lost revenue which would otherwise be generated domestically. As a verb, tariff is the action of putting the charge in place. A tariff can also be described as a levy, tax, toll, duty, excise. It is a form of export tax. The country exporting the goods pays a tariff to the country that is importing them. To charge a tariff is to impose a fee. The tariffs are put in place. They are required. They have been enforced. Do you like my garden? I must say it looks rather nice today, with all the plants coming into bloom. Did you know that the word plant can be used in many ways? As a verb, the word plant means to put something in the ground. You place something in a hole and cover it with soil. You bury something in the ground. You plant something. To push something sharp into the ground is plant. You can plant a flagpole. To carefully place a small flower or tree with its roots under the soil is to plant. You plant a flower. You plant a tree. You can plant a kiss on another person. To place something where it can easily be found is to plant. The evidence was planted in his apartment by the police. As a noun, the word plant can refer to a large factory. A person who goes undercover to pose as another person is a plant. A certain species of flower or other green foliage can be described as a plant. You can plant a plant, grow a plant, nourish a plant, or, like now, you can enjoy a plant. Yes, we are back, and I hope you enjoyed that. A full English lesson, and there are many full English lessons on my YouTube channel. Ooh.
Hello! Hello, Mr. Duncan. Hello, wonderful viewers from across the world.
He's back.
I am, yes, I am, from a very busy week, Mr. Duncan.
Once again, Mr. Steve's mother has allowed him to come on because you don't know this, and I just want to let you in on this secret. Every week, Steve has to phone his mother and ask if he can appear on here.
True.
It's true. He has a,
yes.
Hello, Mum. Hello, Mum. It's Steve here. Yes, your naughty son. Is it okay if I do a live stream with Duncan? Honestly, I won't say any rude words, and I won't say words like poo-poo and wee-wee. I won't say anything like that. Is it okay? She says, yes, you can. So that's the reason why he's here once again by permission.
My mother is not the boss of me. I'm sorry.
That's not what I've heard.
Not at my age.
That's not what I've heard.
Nobody's the boss of me.
Today, Steve, we are talking about bravery.
Oh, bravery, yes. I was reading the live stream notes.
I did what? The live stream notes.
Yes, the live stream, the posts from various people. There are some very brave people watching us today.
I didn't realise how many brave people we have watching this. Although you've got to be pretty brave to watch this anyway.
That's true.
It takes a lot of courage to sit through this.
True. Yeah, well, you noticed that William, somebody called William, hello William,
William
has been saving girls at bus stops.
Yes, William approached some people at a bus stop, and there were some girls there, and they were being harassed by someone with a knife, and William stepped in and helped save the girls from whatever was about to happen.
Horrendous. And Christina saved a child from drowning.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
You know, quite often when a person does that, they often get some sort of award. So
yes.
Did you get an award?
You should do. You should have got something. A plaque.
Some sort of bravery award.
Exactly. It's raining.
Okay.
In Lyon, in France. And it's raining all over the place in Europe. We've had a very wet week, haven't we? Thunderstorms. we've been getting all the thunderstorms that have been sort of across Europe. They've been drifting towards us.
Well, apparently they had it in Spain, then it sort of moved to France, and then it went across the English Channel, and then it came over here. Fortunately, we weren't badly affected, but we have had a lot of rain.
We didn't even hear a single rumble of thunder here.
No thunder
We escaped
here.
all of it.
We escaped every clap, as it were.
Yes, well, that type of clap anyway. I found out something about Pedro as well, watching the live stream.
Okay, because of course, for those who don't know, Steve has desires, certain desires. Apparently, since he saw Pedro with his ripped muscles,
Even before then, I was hooked.
yeah. So there you go.
Pedro has got a French name.
Okay.
Apparently, Belmont is a French name.
Well,
people are saying
I've always thought that didn't sound very Amazonian or Brazilian.
So half French, half Brazilian. What a combination.
Quite a combination indeed.
Anyway, right, yes, so some very interesting comments about bravery all over your live stream today, Mr. Have you ever done anything very brave?
Well, I did talk about the time when I threw that guy out of the school, the Canadian guy, who was causing a lot of trouble for the female students. He kept harassing them. I don't know what he was trying to do, but I have my thoughts about what he was trying to do. And one night I had enough, and I knocked on his door, and I gave him quite a telling off. If you tell someone off, it means you are giving them some sort of instructions in a very angry way. You tell them off. You tell them that they shouldn't do something, or quite often you will give them a warning as well. You might warn someone, if you don't stop doing this, I will have you removed from the school. And that's what I said. And a week later, he was gone.
All down to you. You stood up to him, Mr. Duncan, like a man.
But you know why? Because I actually had authority. Can you believe that?
Did you?
Can you imagine me having authority?
Chaos ensues when Mr. Duncan has authority.
Yes. So quite often, if I said something at the school, if I gave suggestions or had ideas, quite often they would listen to what I said, and quite often things would be changed. When we used to have these Americans, there used to be some Americans that would come to our school, and they used to pretend that they were from Microsoft, but they weren't. They were from a church. So they just made their way into our school. They tricked their way into the school so they could talk about religion to my students, which was not very good because, first of all, they lied. And the other thing, of course, is that they did upset a lot of the students. So that's it. That's the line being crossed. If you cross the line, it means you've gone too far. And so I had to do something about that. So all of the changes that were implemented were actually done by me. I can't believe it. I still can't believe I had so much power, so much authority.
Belarusia's leaving. Goodbye, Belarusia. Nice to have seen you here. I think that you're doing so. Yes, you're having your brother round.
Oh,
and family. So no doubt you'll be cooking something very nice.
we will see you soon, Claudia or Claudia. You see,
Why did you mention that name?
because that's Belarusia's real name.
Oh, I didn't know that. I've learnt something today, Mr. Duncan.
Really?
I didn't know that Belarusia's real name was Claudia or Claudia. We would say Claudia, but sometimes it's Claudia.
Yes. Well, Belarusia likes to be called Claudia because that's what her friends call her.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, Claudia or Claudia, I hope you have a lovely time with your brother and family. Because, of course, I don't know whether it's Father's Day where you are, but it's certainly Father's Day in a lot of countries, including in the UK.
Here, it's Father's Day.
Yes.
Sadly, Mr. Steve's father is no longer around, and I don't see my father anymore. So it's a long story, by the way. So we're not really doing much with our fathers today. I suppose Mr. Steve could could look up and say something. But as far as I'm concerned, I can't say anything because my father is out of my life.
I'm distracted because there is a cobweb that is glistening in your lights in the studio.
Okay.
And I keep catching sight of it.
Okay.
In the corner of my eye.
I can move the cobweb if it's annoying you, Steve.
Well, I mean, we might get a spider. Do you think it followed you from outside? Because last week we had a spider.
Yes.
That was building a web around your camera.
It's fascinating.
I think it's followed you inside, Mr. Duncan.
Okay, I'm just going to remove the... Here we go. I've never done this before. I've never moved anything towards the camera.
You need to go a bit further, Mr. Duncan. Oh, there we go.
There we go. It's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone. Are you okay now, Steve?
You've spoilt a spider's day.
Well, it's only a small...
Because it's got to build that web all over again. It must be going from one place to another. Probably it's got a little nest. That might explain some of your technical issues, Mr. Duncan. You might have spiders that are nesting in your equipment.
Ooh. That sounds very painful.
Not crabs, spiders. And they could be interfering with all the electronics. Because you've had a bit of an issue, haven't you, this week with your monitors?
Well, not the monitors, but the graphics card inside the computer. But I've managed to work around it. And that's what happens sometimes when you have difficulties, sometimes when you have problems, adversity. It's a word I used earlier, adversity. Things that come along and you have to deal with them. They are problems that you have to overcome. So sometimes these things can come by surprise. You are not expecting them, but you still have to deal with them. And that's what I've been doing. So bravery, Lewis Mendez says, I'm not very brave.
I was trying to rack my brains.
Okay.
If you rack your brains, you're trying to search for ideas or memories or something like that.
Yes.
I'm racking my brains to think of an example of when I was brave.
Oh, okay.
So I'm searching, looking for something. And it's a phrase that indicates that you're having difficulty, doesn't it? If you're racking your brains, you're trying to drum up memories from somewhere.
You're just trying to think of something.
Yes.
Yes.
But the implication is that it's difficult what you're doing. Can you think of any instance when I've been brave, Mr. Duncan? Apart from coming on this show with you every week.
Yes, or hooking up with me. That's pretty brave.
But I didn't know it at the time.
Yeah. Or I suppose, have you done... Well, I suppose anything in your life that scares you.
Oh, yes. Going on stage, of course. I forgot all about that.
Yeah. Okay, Steve, if I could just get the sentence out. So quite often things that just scare you, things that might be something you have to overcome, can be brave. So bravery is not just about jumping into the water to rescue someone. Bravery can also be just overcoming your own fears.
Of whatever it is. I had a huge fear about singing in public.
Yeah.
And performing in public, and I didn't do it for many, many years. I mean, I'm still frightened about it now, but if yes, that's it, challenging yourself. That is bravery, no matter what it is. Exactly. So Alessandra is racking their brain as well. And I'm sure that is the correct spelling, I'm sure.
Yes, that's it. It is.
Racking your brain. It really means that you're just really trying to think of something and it's difficult.
Yes. Something Steve does all the time.
I'm always racking my brain.
Yeah. So there are things that you have to overcome. For example, there are people who are afraid of spiders. They have arachnophobia. But sometimes it's good to face your fears. For example, have a look at this, Steve. Oh dear.
What?
This coming up now. Oh my goodness.
Oh, we all remember the spiders.
Remember the spiders that used to live with us? Well, a lot of people do suffer from arachnophobia, and that is the fear of spiders. You can see that spider there. You can't really tell how large it is, but it is a big one.
It's as big as your hand.
So this is a large tarantula, and we had 3 of these living with us for nearly 2 years. But a lot of people are afraid of spiders. And look at the size of that. Look how big it is. It's going to move in a moment. Look, Steve. Look at that. Oh my goodness.
Vitas has sent us a lovely little rhyme about a spider. The itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. Now the itsy bitsy spider went up the spout again.
That sounds like a nurse. That sounds like a nursery rhyme.
Yes. Oh, Mr. Duncan, you're probably frightening off all our viewers with that hideous vision, that horrific sight of a spider that could be as big as a house.
Yes, it is. It is a pretty big spider. So some people are afraid of spiders, and then there was a good example of one that I would imagine would make a lot of people very afraid.
Yes, Alberto said that there was a film called Arachnophobia. He calls it a trash movie.
Oh, okay.
Because apparently it was very bad. It was terrible.
So there have been lots of these films, though, with all sorts of animals attacking people. I suppose a lot of people think of Jaws. Jaws.
Oh, I was really frightened of Jaws.
And then there are The Birds, a very famous movie by Alfred Hitchcock, not to be confused with Birdemic, which is not the same film. That's a very awful film. And Sharknado. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
There is a movie that is very famous for being quite bad, and it's called Sharknado, and it's where a tornado goes across the sea, and it carries lots of sharks, and then the sharks are all dropped.
Deposited?
Yes, dropped across a town. And then the film then consists of people being eaten by these sharks.
That sounds a bit silly.
It is silly.
Because surely sharks have to stay in the water to survive.
Yes. It's a very silly movie with some awful special effects. Oh, by the way, 5 minutes from now, or should I say 4 minutes, we have...
Flags of the World?
Flags of the World.
Here we go. I thought you might have decided to use something different.
No, because
today.
Because last week we had loads of complaints, so I'm not having.
But you showed it last week, Mr. Duncan. The week before you didn't.
No, it was last week.
Yes, you didn't. You show Flags of the World last week.
Anyway, we could be arguing about this all day, but
someone will tell us.
We have Flags of the World coming up, but Steve was very busy in the garden this week. You were once again checking your wood, weren't you? Yes, you were.
Oh, I see. You filmed me secretly.
I have been sneakily filming Mr. Steve, and there he is. But what are you doing, Steve?
Well, I thought I'm going to see if I can bring some of that wood inside. Because if it's dried enough in the sun, then I can store it inside the house so that we can use it in the winter.
Yes, we're very lucky actually, because we actually have an area that was built with the house, and it's a place where you can actually store your logs.
A wood? Well, yes, it's a fuel store.
Yes,
I think because when the house was originally built in the 1960s,
yes,
a lot of houses then had fireplaces, so they had to have somewhere to store their fuel.
So we're very lucky that we can actually put our logs somewhere in the house. And there is Steve. So what are you doing? You're checking the logs to make sure they're dry?
Well, I bought myself a moisture meter.
So this is a piece of technology.
A moisture meter. We demonstrated it once on the live stream because when it's sort of below 12%, it means we can burn it inside. That means that it's dried out sufficiently so that we're not damaging the chimney or creating too much smoke. And most of that, half of it, I would say, is now ready for burning. Some of it was well below sort of 8%.
Yes.
moisture. This is boring people to tears, I'm sure.
It's definitely... Well,
to cut a long story short, some of it still needs drying out, and that's what I've left there.
But I can see there you are covering up the wood with some tarpaulin. You are about to cover it up because we had a lot of rain last night. So this was Mr. Steve, actually yesterday afternoon. And we did have a lot of rain. So we have enough... I think we have enough firewood to keep us going next winter and maybe the winter afterwards as well.
Well, I think the trouble is this firewood is softwood
Okay.
from conifers, so it's not going to burn as slowly as hardwood. So it's not going to last as long. So I think we'll get burned through it a lot quicker. But
Yes.
anyway,
we have lots of wood to keep us warm
but yes, anyway, right.
during the winter
But
months.
we've got a problem with a rabbit in the garden.
Yeah, okay. Well, we don't have time to talk about that because
Okay.
it's 3 o'clock.
That's more interesting than wood.
3 o'clock is coming up. And you know what that means, don't you, Steve?
It means that Pedro is the only person that's going to be watching.
No, there's a lot of people.
Oh.
Do you ever look at the live...
I'm joking.
Do you ever look at the live chat?
Of course, I'm looking at it all the time.
Everyone is saying we are looking forward to seeing those flags of the world.
Pedro has sent us a picture, a photo of his father. We can't show it today because Mr. Duncan would have to go into his computer.
Okay.
And you can't do it when you're live doing this. So we'll show it next week, Pedro.
Yeah.
Because you can't, anyway.
Anyway.
Technically, it's not possible.
Are we having a bet today? Are we betting how many times Steve says anyway at the end of a sentence? Anyway. It's 3 o'clock, Steve. Anyway. It's time, anyway, for those flags, anyway, of the world. Anyway. Mr. Steve was blowing his nose. I really wish you could have heard.
Move over, Mr. Duncan.
I wish we could have heard the sound of Steve blowing his nose.
Saturino says that I need to be careful near piles of logs because apparently in her country, then you get snakes, vipers that live in the piles of logs. Well, you'll be pleased to know, Saturino, that we don't have poisonous snakes in the... Well, we have adders, don't we?
Yes.
But they're not particularly poisonous.
Yes, I'm not sure about vipers.
I don't think we get vipers. We get grass snakes and adders. Adders, I think you can get a nasty bite from an adder, but there's none around here. And you certainly can't die from it. But yes, I shall remember that. If I ever go abroad and see a pile of logs, I shall stay well away from them.
Of course, you can always tell when you see an adder because it's carrying a calculator.
Oh, Mr. Duncan, you're so funny.
I thought that was mildly amusing.
It was mildly amusing.
Mildly.
Adders. I don't know whether people have heard of adders.
Well, it's a type of snake.
Yes, that's what we get here. We get grass snakes, which are fairly harmless. I've never seen an adder. We don't have many of them. We don't have poisonous spiders either.
No.
Which I'm sure you get lots of in Brazil. Lewis points out that the largest community of people watching us are Brazilians.
Yes, we do get a lot of people in South America watching.
We do.
South America and also Vietnam, probably two of the biggest places, and also India. You might be surprised to find out we have a lot of viewers in India as well. So India, also Italy as well. We have many people watching in Italy. So we are big in many parts of the world.
Beatrice notices that I am slowing my pronunciation of words.
Almost too...
Which is helping.
It's almost too slow.
I'm pleased to know that. We've got Banda from Saudi Arabia. We do get quite a few people watching us from Saudi Arabia as well, so welcome. There's a football match on at the moment. Oh no, somebody asks, is Italy playing now?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know about football really. All I know is England did not do very well on Friday against Scotland. In fact, I had a very interesting question that came through on my YouTube channel asking why is England playing in the Euros? Because England, Scotland and part of Ireland, Northern Ireland, well, actually not Northern Ireland. This is the problem. It's very hard to actually explain all of this. But the reason why we're in the Euros has nothing to do with Brexit. So it's not about the political side of it or the economic side. It's just the geographical location.
Yes, not the political.
Yes. I mean, for example, Turkey are also in the Euros. So
yes,
that's
the
it.
Euros is to do with people who live in Europe.
Yes. So
not the European Union,
No.
which is a different thing altogether.
That's it.
Just the continent.
So that is the difference.
Yes. I don't know whether Turkey is technically in Europe or not. It's all about money anyway. I mean, they wouldn't say, even if it was, European Union country football match tournament, we'd still be in it anyway, because unless England were in it, they'd lose lots of money. It's all to do with money, isn't it? Football, money.
If you say so.
Probably. What are we doing? What's the theme of today apart from bravery?
Well, that's really one of the things we're talking about in a big way, because we have lots of words and expressions. We also have the sentence game as well, for those who like to have their brains picked. We have that.
We've had another invite to Brazil. Oh, it's Italy versus Wales, apparently. Is that going on now? Is that football match actually started? Italy versus Wales.
Oh.
I don't know. Well, no, it could well be. But yes.
It's not just a field of sheep at one end, is it?
No, I don't. Who invited us to? Somebody invited us to South America earlier on, and I can't find out who it was. We'd love to go. Well, of course, I'd like to meet a few Brazilian people. One in particular, of course. But who invited us to Brazil?
I don't know, Steve.
Somebody invited us to Brazil. And it's gone
You
now.
are the one with your eye on the live
Oh,
chat.
yes.
Oh, okay, yes.
Cathiana Souza has invited us to Brazil. Do you live near Pedro by any chance? Might be an incentive for me to.
You do realise that Brazil is a huge country.
I know. I'd love to go.
I used to like it when people used to say to me in China. They used to say, "Do you know the Queen?" Like somehow we would just pass each other in the street.
It's in 2 hours' time. The match.
Okay, that's good. Is that it?
That's it. I'm just reiterating.
I felt like there was more coming up. You see there, I thought more was going to be coming our way. It's very murky. So yes, you are right. Today it's very murky. So that is the view right now live behind us. In fact, I think you can see that. I think that might be some sheep. I can't quite tell from here, but that might be some sheep in the field in the distance. But yes, you are right. We have murky weather.
Tomek points out that Israel is in the Euros football matches. So yeah, and I wouldn't have thought Israel was in Europe, the European continent, would you? But there we go. But that's due to politics, says Tomek. We should support Wales, says Palmyra.
I'm not going near. I'm not going near that.
Well, we anyway, yeah. It's down to money. You should support Wales because we're near Wales. Yes, we should, but we're still technically in England and we're English. So I suppose really we need to support England or we would be seen as traitors.
Yeah, well, the other problem is I have no interest in football.
Well, that's it.
That's really the big thing. I don't have any interest in the game of football, to be honest. Don't take that the wrong way. But today we've been talking about bravery, Steve. So yes. We have done brave things in the past, but I thought also it would be interesting to have a look at some words connected and also phrases. For example, if you are a brave person, you might describe someone having courage. So to have courage, to have strength, to face something. So quite often when we think about courage, we often think about doing something brave. But of course, courage can be something you have to keep with you for a very long time to get yourself through a difficult situation or something that you are trying to do. So we always think of courage as one act, but actually courage can be something you have for a very long time, something you have to keep with you. Maybe you are facing some difficulty in your life, such as a serious illness.
Yes.
You might have an illness which is very serious. So courage is the thing that carries you through that difficulty.
Yes, that difficulty that you do it quite often without complaint. Courageous people often do something and they don't moan and groan and they don't complain. They just get on with it and do it.
Yes. Although I think we sometimes do use or overuse the word courageous or hero or brave. We do sometimes overuse it.
Definitely. You often hear, if we're talking about football, you often hear people describe certain football players, famous football players, as heroes. Now that, I think, is something that you could debate.
Yes, you often hear sporting hero.
Yes.
As if that person has sort of done something brave and heroic, which of course they might have done. They might have actually had to overcome their own personal problems or difficulties. So it can happen, but I think sometimes we do overuse the word hero and brave quite often. So to be courageous, if you have courage, the action is described as being courageous. You are doing something courageous. You are doing something that is seen as brave. Here's another one. I like this one, Steve. To be gutsy.
Gutsy. Gutsy.
Gutsy.
Gutsy.
Yes, it's interesting that. It doesn't seem like a real word. Quite often, a person who is brave, we often describe them as having guts. Guts. So the thing that drives you forward, the thing that pushes you to overcome the problems or the adversity, we can say that you have guts. You are gutsy. So if you are gutsy, it means you don't let anything stop you. You keep going. You don't give up. You don't
fearless.
stop. Yes, to be fearless.
Fearless.
Yes, good one.
Gutsy. For some reason, your guts, and that is referring to your guts, your innards, your intestines, that part of your body. For some reason, that's associated with bravery. If you have lots of guts, have you got the guts to face up to that neighbour of yours and tell them how they've upset you?
Have you got the guts to hold that giant spider in your hand? Oh.
And if someone isn't brave, you call them gutless. 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 Gutless.
So a gutless person is a person who is not brave.
Another word you could use, gutsy, would be he or she's got balls. That's another phrase that you use to say that somebody is brave and gutsy. They've got balls. No comment, Mr. Duncan?
Good.
But that isn't. So BALLS is a phrase you can use if for somebody who's behaving in a brave way.
Yes.
For example, somebody might be at a work meeting, and there's hundreds of people, and somebody is asked if they would make a speech suddenly without warning, and they just put their hand up and say, "I'll do it." You say, "Oh God, he's got balls," or "She's got balls," or "She's gutsy." He's gutsy.
Yes.
Of course, we won't say what the balls are referring to.
But they are part of the body.
Certain part of the male anatomy, but that is what it's referring to. But it does mean brave.
Yes.
And it's not rude to use that phrase, is it? You can use that phrase.
I've never heard any presidents or prime ministers ever saying balls to mean courage. But
here's a good one. Jimmy from Hong Kong. The opposite to gutsy, another is spineless.
Yes, a spineless person. They have, and quite that derives from having a backbone.
Yes.
So a person who has backbone is a person who is brave, who has courage. And the opposite is spineless. That person has no backbone. The spine that runs down your back, it holds you upright.
Yes.
And that's what it's all about, you see. So having no spine means that you don't stand up straight. You're not willing to be seen or to be courageous. You have backbone. You have no backbone. You don't want to be seen. You don't have bravery.
If someone describes you as spineless, and thanks for that, Jimmy, it really is quite... it's not a nice thing to be called.
It is not.
Because nobody wants to be seen as not being courageous and not having any guts or any spine. And that's often used in specific ways, I would say, that phrase, spineless.
Yes. Anyway, we've got to move on, Steve.
Okay.
I could talk...
Interesting, as Sergi says, I thought gutsy meant somebody who poos a lot.
Oh, I see. Okay.
We understand the joke. It's very clever.
I see we found the level. To be plucky. A person who is plucky. Again, I like this. A plucky person. A person who has a lot of energy to be brave, to push themselves forward. They are fearless. A plucky person.
Positive.
Yes.
Somebody with a very positive outlook on life.
Yes.
Willing to volunteer for things. and plucky.
They're always willing to put themselves forward in a situation that may or may not be dangerous.
Positive, outgoing types of people.
Here's another one, Steve. Before we both fall silent.
A valiant person, valiant.
Yes, I like this one, valiant. It's a very old-fashioned word.
Yes.
It's a valiant. So a valiant person is a person who shows bravery. And of course, this is derived from valor. So valor is bravery. So a valiant person shows bravery. They are a valiant person. They are courageous.
I think that phrase used to be used a lot for people going into battle. If you're in a war, going into battle, it's a very old-fashioned phrase. The valiant soldier, you could describe it. But yes, I think it's used for conflict situations. And you might, if you are a valiant person, you might expect to get a medal for your bravery. There's a song, I can't remember what it is now. The Valiant Brave People. I can't remember what the song is, but somebody might remember.
Well, you can get a medal.
Yes,
for valiance.
For valor.
Quite often, I think in the States they actually describe them as medals of valor. So bravery, to be brave, to stand up for yourself.
Saturino says that we need to go and find a bear in the wood and prove that it works. Are you talking about bravery and valor?
Yes, doing something brave. I suppose
Yeah.
I have done things that might be described as brave. Bold and daring is another. Bold. To do something or to be bold and daring. That means you are pushing your limits. So you are willing to push yourself forward and do something, maybe in the past, something you may have been afraid to do. Something maybe you feared. So suddenly you are bold to do something bold and daring. Maybe if you go out into the street wearing your drag costume and you walk around the neighbourhood waving to everyone, hello.
Yeah, but I mean, you do that all the time anyway, so that wouldn't be a mark of bravery.
No, I suppose not.
Yes, if you're bold, it means you're brave. Yeah, you're willing to do something that could potentially be dangerous or embarrassing.
Here's another one.
You can be emboldened, can't you? You can get a feeling of emboldenment where you just suddenly have that courage to do something.
Yes, to suddenly be overcome with the feeling of bravery. You really want to do something about it. Gallant, another one.
Gallant or gallant.
Gallant is a great word. Again, very old-fashioned. There was, I think there is a hymn. When a knight won his spurs in the days of old, they were gallant and brave, is one of the lines. So I always remember that from school when we used to sing all of these religious songs at school. So this is again a word that it might sound a little bit old-fashioned, gallant.
Yes, I think that normally refers to men, and it's to do with being or showing bravery towards women, isn't it? I think if you're gallant.
Well, I think it's
a gallant man is somebody who stands up for women.
Yes, well,
or stands up for a woman.
It's not related to gender. It just means brave.
But if you're gallant,
yes,
I used to understand it as meaning that you are somebody that showed appreciation for women and stood up for women. You might protect a woman against danger, and you're very gallant. Or you might help a lady. A man might help a lady up a step or out of a car. Giving assistance and aid. I mean, probably these days, certainly in the UK, you wouldn't be thanked if you opened a door. If you would open a door for a lady to go through, you were at the door, but you let the lady go through first. Somebody said, "Oh, how very gallant of you."
But that sounds sarcastic.
Okay, well, thank you. You're very gallant. What a gallant gentleman.
That's very gallant of you.
Appreciating women and standing up for women.
Okay.
I think that usually...
I almost have the feeling that sometimes Mr. Steve walks around the street wearing a big top hat. And he takes his hat off when women go by. Good morning, madam. Good morning, madam. Good morning.
Showing appreciation.
Yes.
And yes. Gallant is a model for a Japanese car, says Abdulaziz.
That's a good name. I think that's a brilliant name, by the way. Is it Toyota? The Toyota Gallant.
Doesn't say here. We've probably got the same model here, but it's called something different. Tomek says, what about the word unsung hero? Or the phrase unsung hero?
Yeah, that's...
Are we talking about hero as well?
I suppose a hero quite often is seen as someone who does something brave. So yes, of course, I think it would be fair to say that. Yeah, I think so.
But an unsung hero is somebody who hasn't been recognised publicly
for their bravery,
or the good things that they've done. If you're unsung, it means nobody's talked about it widely. Maybe you've kept it to yourself. That's something you did. Say for example, you rescued somebody from a drowning in a river. Like Christina did. If you kept it to yourself and it was just you and the child that knew about it, she might tell her parents. But if they then go and tell lots of other people, if they don't tell anyone else, then nobody hears about it. You're an unsung hero. But if they tell lots of people, then you'll become a public hero.
The phrase comes actually from the olden times, when heroes received immortality through song. So songs or poems would be written about the heroes, heroic moments.
Heroic soldier.
I'm talking, Steve.
I know.
So
I was very brave then to cut in. Very brave.
But now it's completely removed what I was trying to explain.
What were you going to say, Mr. Duncan?
Well, what I was saying was... an unsung hero is a person who has had no songs written about their bravery. Even though they did something brave, they were never mentioned in any songs. Hence, unsung.
Very good, Mr. Duncan. Adele says that looks like she's needing to decide something that can change her life. So you're in a phase of your life when you're maybe at a crossroads. You often say in life you've reached a point where you need to change. You need to do something else. And that act of doing that can be difficult. And of course, but if you do it, you could say, maybe you change your whole career path.
Yes.
And, it's very brave then if you do something very different than you've been doing for many years.
Yes, well, there is a good expression that we can use, and it's coming on the screen now. You throw caution to the wind. I love this expression. So if you throw caution to the wind, it means you decide that you are going to do it. You're not worried about the consequences or what might happen. You throw caution to the wind.
That would suggest a reckless behaviour.
Not necessarily. No, throw caution to the wind can just be, I'm going to do it. I could be afraid, but I'm going to throw caution to the wind. I'm going to go ahead and do it, whatever happens to me. So it's not necessarily negative, but I do know what you mean, Steve. So it could also show that you are about to do something that might be dangerous or might cause harm.
I'm going to throw caution to the wind after this live stream, climb up on our ladder and unblock the guttering.
Okay. That's a good example.
Yes, I'm going to throw caution to the wind and just ask out the first person I meet on a date.
Okay. I wouldn't ask anyone around here on a date. Most of them are sheep.
Katiana says, what about the word coward?
Yes, well, a coward is the opposite. So a person who refuses to do anything courageous is a coward. A person who will not confront their fears might be described as a coward. It's a very loaded word. It's a word that if you use it towards someone, it can cause a lot of upset. So describing a person as a coward, I don't know. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't say it to anyone unless we were in a situation where maybe some harm could come to either myself or the other person. So a coward is a person who avoids danger or avoids putting themselves at risk in any way.
In order to, yes, I mean that word is used a lot in war. People have been executed for being cowards. If they, for example, go to war, their country's at war, and they're sent into the armed forces, and they run away from the battle because whatever reason, and well, frightened of being shot and killed. Yes,
I would be honest. If I was in the middle of a battlefield with mortar shells flying over my head,
we know why,
and bullets whizzing by,
we know why.
I also might be running in the other direction.
But of course, in wartime situations, governments have to be seen to be very harsh. They can't let people run away from the battle. So in order to set an example, when they find somebody who's deserted or run away, they will often execute them. I mean, we used to do that.
Well, you would be, yes.
Even in the Second World War.
Yes, well, what they used to do is they used to make you stand trial. And if you were found guilty of cowardice, quite often the punishment would be very harsh indeed.
Yes, execution.
Not anymore, though. We don't. Can I just point out, we don't do it anymore. We don't shoot people for being cowards anymore. So is there a polite way of saying that a person is a coward? I like that, yes. Is there a polite way? Well, maybe a person who is reluctant to do something. He's reluctant. So that's a nice way of saying that they don't really want to do it. They don't want to put themselves forward in any situation, so they are reluctant.
Coward is, you're right, coward is a strong word. It's very difficult to use that even in a humorous way. It really sort of strikes at your very core and makes you feel sort of worthless.
It's an insult.
It is an insult. To be called a coward is really an insult.
Chicken is another one, of course. You can call someone a chicken.
Yes.
As a child.
That's a mild form of saying coward, isn't it?
So children often say, oh, go on, run across the road in front of that lorry. Oh, you don't want to. Are you chicken? Are you a chicken?
Because of course, chickens just run across. Well, actually, that's being unfair on chickens and pheasants that just run across the road. They're not being brave. They don't know what they're doing, do they? So,
no. Well, I don't
to say that you're chicken, really. A chicken's actually very brave because it just runs across and gets run over.
I don't think this phrase was created by David Attenborough. So I don't think it's a personal insult to chickens.
Yes, Rosa. Here's a good one. To chicken out.
Yes.
That means you avoid doing something.
Yes.
I'm going to chicken out of that work meeting at 10 o'clock tonight.
I'm going to chicken out from visiting all of my neighbours tomorrow because I don't want to, because I hate them.
Yes, the implication is you've planned to do something and then you cancel it because you didn't want to do it. You've chickened out. It might be something that you find challenging to do. And someone might say, oh, you've chickened out. You might pretend to be sick.
Yes.
Not go to work.
I've got another one. Of course, you might describe a person as yellow.
Yes.
Yellow.
Yeah.
They have a yellow streak down their back. So we don't often use this anymore because, of course, it's 2021, and using colours to describe people nowadays has become a little bit of a hot topic, you might say. So you don't often hear anyone say, "Oh, what's wrong? Are you yellow? Are you yellow? You have a yellow belly?"
Yellow.
So we don't normally do that anymore. By the way, in China, can I just say, if a person is described as yellow in China, it means that they are involved in making adult movies.
Really?
A yellow man. Did you know that? So there is a bit of information. So in China, a yellow man is a person who is involved in making naughty movies.
It's all right, you can tell me. You can tell me, Mr. Duncan.
It's okay, my hand is stuck like that.
Here's a good example. Sean Ferry says, "I am chickening out of having Botox injections." Yes.
Yeah.
So at the time you thought, "Oh yes, I want to look wrinkle-free and young and beautiful." And then at some point you thought, yes, there are maybe nasty side effects from Botox injections. So you've, through fear of what might happen, you've decided not to have them. So you could say, well, somebody might say to you, "Oh, you've chickened out." But actually, you might be making a very wise decision in this instance.
Yes.
I wouldn't say deciding not to have Botox injections was chickening out, because that is something that could potentially cause you harm.
Well, I think also bravery can be subjective as well.
Yes.
So what is brave to one person might be nothing to someone else. So I think sometimes there is a bit of subjective meaning or observation taking place when we talk about people being brave.
Sergio said he was often attacked by a chicken in his youth. Was it like the chicken off Family Guy? The giant chicken in Family Guy, the cartoon, American cartoon series that... what's his name? Who's the father's name in that programme?
Peter Griffin.
Peter Griffin often gets into a fight with a giant chicken. It's very funny. What about play chicken, says Jamila?
Yeah, if you play chicken, it means you run across the road in front of traffic, or maybe a train. So a person is daring you to do something that's dangerous. By the way, don't do that. Don't run in front of trains or lorries or anything. Do not do that, you see, because quite often the chicken will get squashed by the train or the lorry. That's the reason why quite often on the road you will see large patches, and that thing you are looking at used to be an animal, but now it's just squashed into the road. It is a stain.
Yes, because chickens, when they want to cross the road like pheasants, they just run across, and it's just pure chance or luck as to whether they get to the other side or not.
Yes.
They're not making any cognitive decisions because they don't really know. They don't know that it's dangerous.
Here's another good one, Steve. You don't think about the consequences.
Right.
So quite often being brave or putting yourself in a situation where you do something without thinking of what might happen.
Yes.
You don't think about the consequences, which is great. So doing something brave, a brave person might also seem foolish, as you said earlier. So a brave thing, maybe you are a person who likes climbing up the sides of buildings. How can they do that? Have you seen them? They climb up the sides of buildings very high up without any support.
That's brave. They are throwing caution to the wind, and they're not thinking of the consequences.
Yeah, they are thinking it doesn't matter. And quite a few of them have actually fallen to their deaths.
But of course, as they say in life, unless you take risk, very little is achieved. That's often a phrase that is used. We have to take risks. Sometimes we take calculated risks where we take into account as much information as we possibly can to try and avoid the danger or the downside of what we're about to do. but sometimes you have to make a leap of faith because you haven't got all the information, and that's the bravery, and that's the opposite of not thinking about the consequences, really.
Yes. And then we have a few others. Can I just put these? So, to be brave, finally, because we are about to end this part, and then we have the sentence game. By the way, the sentence game is all about brave words.
Have we had some of them, do you think?
Maybe.
In the last?
Maybe. So this is a good test coming up of how well you've been watching. Ooh. So you show bravery. You show courage. You are fearless. You are plucky. You show no fear. You have guts. You show nerve. You are selfless. I like that one. Actually, the last one. That one is my favourite. To be selfless. So you are not thinking of your own safety.
That's a form of bravery, isn't it? It's like Christina and William. Christina who saved a girl from drowning, and William who was trying to save those girls from a knife attack.
Yes.
You're being selfless then. You are not thinking about the consequences. You are just throwing caution to that. You're just doing it on impulse, probably. Impulse. That means you just do something without thinking, just like that.
That's it. In a flash.
In a flash.
So those are some
Because
words.
you think it's the right thing to do.
So those are some words you can use to show bravery, courage, to be fearless, to be plucky, to show no fear. You have guts. You show nerve, and you are selfless.
Sean says, yes, sometimes brave people are described as foolish but that's all about the risk. You take a risk, it might happen. It's like, shall I put my money into cryptocurrencies? It's a risk, a big risk. But, 5 years down the road, you could be a millionaire.
Or investing in anything.
Investing in anything is a risk.
Yes. So stocks, shares, investing in a company, buying shares in something, it all comes with a risk. It is like going to the casino and spinning the wheel around and around.
Yes.
And hopefully the little ball, will land on the colour and also the number that you put your chips or your money on.
William says, can we use the word banana to describe people who are afraid?
Maybe you can call a person who is a banana. You don't normally call anyone a banana unless maybe they are strange or crazy. A person might be a little bit of a banana if they do something foolish.
If you go bananas, it
Yes.
means you go a bit mad.
You lose control of your emotions. You go bananas over
Yes.
something. But that's not really the same as being afraid. It's not the same thing.
Yes, Nitram says to go bananas is extremely angry or excited. Yes, to go bananas is informal slang, correct?
Anyway, Steve,
Yes.
we have come to that time of the show.
Ooh, Sergio's got very scientific, very deep. According to the uncertainty principle of Heisenberg, the Heisenberg principle of uncertainty, even molecules don't know what will happen in the next moment. So molecules are being very brave, or atoms. Don't know why I mentioned that. I just
So
thought,
let us spend a moment.
Sergio's not watching football. He's learning. He's learning things for his mind.
Is he?
Yes, he is. Yes.
Is he?
Instead of wasting time watching football, he's burying his head and studying and using his mind.
He's watching us. I'm not. I think football might be more intellectual than watching us.
Yes, you might find your IQ dropping if you watch us for too long, Sergio.
There should be a health warning at the start of this live stream. So can we play the sentence game, Steve? Because we only have 17 minutes.
Well, that time has gone very quickly.
It always goes fast.
18 minutes, according to your laptop computer here.
Okay.
Right. I think your clock here is fast.
No, that clock is being controlled by a huge transmitter in Germany.
Oh, right.
It's true.
Yes. The radio controlled clock.
Yes, there is the atomic clock. It's an atomic clock.
So your computer's wrong then?
Yes, maybe. I wouldn't be surprised. I think there's more of a chance of the computer being wrong than my atomic clock over there. Here we go then. It's time to play the game that everyone loves to play. Well, almost everyone. Some people don't like playing it, but you can't please everyone. I always feel slightly relieved at this point. Do you know why? Because it means that we can just play the sentence game and then go.
Oh, you mean?
I did press the wrong button then. Yeah. It's okay. Don't panic, everyone. Don't panic. I pressed the wrong button, you see. I pressed my finger, my supersonic finger pressed the wrong button.
Well, we need bravery today and a quick mind because we want people to give us the answers to the sentence game.
Yes, for those who haven't played it, it's very simple. I will show you some sentences on the screen in front of you now, the thing you are looking at with your eyes. And all you have to do is tell me what the missing words are. And then I might give you some clues if I'm feeling generous. So all of the words today are brave words, or I suppose also the sentences might have something to do or be connected with being brave. So here is the first sentence game today. Oh, here we go. This is the kick-off. We've kicked off.
We've kicked off, just like they're going to kick off in about an hour and a half's time in the match. Somebody said earlier that... doesn't matter. Carry on. Right, he's something into the something without something, his own something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words.
Yes. So we have R, the letter R with 6 letters. We have B, 7 letters. Also B again with 8 letters. Then we have C, 11 letters. And then S with 6 letters.
Be brave if you haven't tried to do this before. Be brave and give us your suggestions.
That's it.
That we're not going to criticise you if you're wrong. We're just going to, it's just there for everybody to see. I'm not feeling myself today, Mr. Duncan.
Wasn't Heisenberg, wasn't he the guy from Breaking Bad as well?
I think so, yes.
He was the guy that was making the blue meth, which doesn't exist. Can you believe that some people thought that was real? Some people are a little bit stupid, to be honest. He's something into the something without something, his own something. So we are talking about being brave, I suppose. So something you might do suddenly in a certain situation, maybe where perhaps lives are at risk. We mentioned this earlier. We actually said this earlier. So
think of the words that we've put up today as examples of bravery, maybe. And the subject that we were talking about today.
Inaki says, "Oh my God, I'm going to need much more courage than this."
Oh, right. So William says that in Brazil, they say that when they say somebody's banana, it means somebody's chicken.
Oh, I see.
No, we don't use that in...
Ele banana.
No, we don't use that phrase here to mean that.
No.
So we'll have to remember that when we go to Brazil.
It's taking a long time to get some answers to the sentence game.
Well, we've got people. I think a lot of people have got one of the words, maybe bravery.
Yes. So think about something. Think about something that you might do perhaps you hear some screaming in the night, and then you can smell something, and you think, "Oh, I think something's happening," and then you rush outside, and you realise that someone is in danger. So you decide to do something. You act. I can't say anything else without actually just giving you the sentence. I will give you the answer, you see, if I say anything else.
Ah, right. Yes. So, I think I know what Mr. Duncan wants to put here. So, yes, I don't think bravery is one of the words. So, no, if it's what I think Mr. Duncan, because Mr. Duncan doesn't tell me what these answers are.
That's it. One of the interesting things about this behind the scenes is I never tell Steve anything about what I'm doing today. So I always like Steve to find out about what's happening as you do. So Steve kind of represents the audience, and I represent the person who, is presenting. So
the second word is not bravery. Not bravery.
No. So,
I mean, bravery is a 7-letter word, but that is not the correct word. Yes.
Oh, Valentin. Valentin is very close.
Yes.
Very close. You are very close, Valentin. That's the best one we've had so far. In fact, that might be the only one we've had so far.
There's just one word that is not quite right because it's only 10 letters instead of 11.
Yes.
But I think you've definitely got the right idea.
Yes, I think you've got 80%, 85% of it right. But there is something that's not quite right. So you do something, but without what? Without what? So if you think about something, you are doing something, but if you don't think about it, if that thing does not go across your mind, then it is the opposite. You are doing something without what? Another tense.
Yeah. Valentin's had another go, but it wasn't that. It was another word that's not quite right.
Yes, it's the C word that has 11 letters. That's the one that is incorrect.
Because it's 11 letters, 1, 2, 3. Yes, yeah. I think Kim may have got the other word.
Okay. So here we go. The answer is coming up. But yes, I think Valentin was the nearest. The nearest. Oh, can I say hello to Hyan Cole or Hyan Chol Kim? Can I just call you Kim? Kim? That's a very good...
I've already pointed that out, Mr. Duncan.
I know, I'm just saying it again. That is very good, because I've noticed it now.
So a team effort, but Valentin...
Yes.
...was very, very close.
Come on, Mr. Cockerel.
And of course, Valentin last week, I was adding up points. I'm not going to do it this week.
No.
But Valentin is getting better and better at this.
Yes.
Because you got it onto the scoreboard last week.
I can't believe Tomek didn't even have an answer. That's incredible. I can't believe that.
Come on then, Mr. Duncan. Faster.
Here is the answer to this particular sentence game. Bing bong. He rushed into the burning building without considering his own safety.
Concerning is only 10 letters.
Yes. So if you are considering something, it means you are thinking about it. So if you do something without considering, it means you don't think about it. It is the opposite. So to consider is to think. To not consider is not think. So he rushed into the burning building.
If you want to use concern or concerning, you would have to change the wording of that sentence.
The grammar would be incorrect.
The grammar would be incorrect if you just put concerning in instead of considering.
Yes.
Aside from the fact that it's only 10 letters and not 11, you would have to say something like, he rushed into the burning building without consideration for his safety.
Or without concern.
Yes, without
Of.
concern.
Without concern of or for his own safety.
Yes,
So that there is a big difference there.
just grammatically.
I think we will...
But Valentin also said, because I think I was suggesting that one of the words was correct, and Valentin substituted the word building for bathroom, rushed into the burning bathroom, which
Yes.
does fit. But we wanted the word building. Bathrooms don't normally set on fire.
It's very
Maybe they
unusual.
do.
It's very unusual, unless, of course, you fill your bath full of petrol, in which case it will catch fire. In fact, it will probably explode and blow to smithereens.
Siberia. We've got somebody watching us in Siberia. How wonderful. Thank you. That's wonderful.
Who is it?
Siberia. I can't pronounce the person's name because...
That looks like Cyrillic.
Yes.
So we have some Cyrillic words that we can't read very well. I'm sorry about that. We're showing our ignorance.
I don't think we've ever had anyone from Siberia before.
I wonder if I might be able to translate that. Let me just see if I can translate that. Just give me a moment.
When we think of Siberia in the UK, we tend to think of Siberia as being very cold. And not meaning to be disrespectful, but we tend to associate Siberia with somewhere that a Russian person is sent to if they've been bad or naughty. Because that's, if you get sent to Siberia, in our minds, that means you're being sent to somewhere that's not very nice, but I'm sure it's lovely. I'm sure Siberia is a lovely, lovely place.
The name is Andrei.
Ah,
I've translated it on my computer. Andrei Bezverkov. Andrei. Can I say welcome and a big hello
Yes.
to Serbia?
yes, exactly.
Or sorry, Siberia. I'm worse than Joe Biden. Did you see Joe Biden last week? He got Libya and Syria confused. He kept saying Libya when he was actually talking about Syria.
Belarusia is still with us because her brother hasn't arrived yet, but the sauerkraut is ready.
Ooh.
Sauerkraut, that's a German. I believe it's a German, originated in German. I think it's cabbage that's been pickled.
Yes, pickled
Isn't it?
cabbage.
Pickled
I'd
cabbage.
imagine it's very nice with mayonnaise.
Oh, yes. But yeah, what is the temperature in Siberia, says Rosa? And what time is it? We would like to know. We've never had anybody from Siberia. How wonderful.
Can we have another sentence game, Steve?
Yes, well, it's up to you. It's your show.
I'm starting to think it isn't. Here we go. Here's another sentence game. I don't know where we went then.
Enrique is in Mexico City Airport.
Okay,
what are you
Steve.
doing in the airport?
Steve, we've got to do this. She something complete something her something. I think this is hard.
Right.
So this is harder than the previous one.
What are you doing in Mexico City Airport, Enrique? Are you flying somewhere? Or have you just arrived from somewhere? We want to know.
Where am I
Just
going?
I'm just being nosy. Nosy. If you're being nosy, it means you want to find out something
Okay.
about somebody.
So the sentence game, we've only got 3 minutes, by the way.
To Cancun. Cancun. You're going to Cancun. Well,
Yeah.
well, I think it's amazing. Waiting to catch a plane and watching us. People are doing all sorts of different things when they're watching us. Some people are cooking, some people are cleaning.
You're not the pilot, are you? Please don't watch us while you're actually flying the plane. I would prefer that you watched us later. By the way, you can watch this later. So all of this will be repeated on YouTube forever and ever. You can watch the recording. And of course, later there will be captions as well. Later, there will be captions.
Siberia is 13 degrees. It's gloomy and rainy, a bit like it is here.
Anyway, do we have any guesses for the
That's right.
sentence game, Steve?
Well, I'm waiting.
as fascinating it is talking about the weather.
Iraq, we've got Rayba Cordy watching from Iraq. I bet it's hotter than 13 degrees
Yes.
in Iraq.
I tell you where it is hot at the moment.
Yes.
In the United... What? Are we having the conversation backwards? The United States is very hot at the moment, Steve.
I know. That's why I said yes. In a very enthusiastic way.
Texas, 47 degrees. Can you even imagine having a temperature of 47 degrees? Apparently they're having, it's like a bomb of heat. And apparently that area is just like, it's like, imagine being under a large dome and somehow everything under that dome is getting much hotter than everywhere else. And that's what's happening in the south of the United States, in I think it's Nevada, the Nevada area.
Ah, well, that is very hot and dry there.
Yes, but it's even hotter and even drier. In fact, they told people the other day not to go outside because it was a danger to life. Can you imagine? You're watching TV and then suddenly someone comes on the TV and says, "Hello, please don't leave your house today. It's so hot you might drop dead." I think I would poop myself.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I know. Well, of course, they've had extreme temperatures because didn't they have very cold temperatures during the winter? And a lot of people died. It was so cold. I think that was the same area.
Yes, they got snow where they don't normally get snow.
And a lot of people died because they had power problems and all sorts of things.
I think the Grand Canyon literally filled with snow. I think so.
Right, so have we got any suggestions? No, we've got nothing yet.
Nothing yet.
Well, we've got some suggestions, but I'm not sure if they're right.
Ah.
Can we say that, Mr. Duncan, have a look there? Any of those words correct?
Yes, you're good there. You're good there. That is Nassar Alam,
And Anaki.
Inaki. Yes, I think
Was the
those are
first.
good. Those are pretty good. Yes, you're on your way. You are on your way.
How far is Cancun from Mexico City Airport, Enrique? Cancun. I can't think where that is now.
I think you are going to be
I can't
a while.
think where that is. Ah, right.
Welcome to the least exciting moment ever on YouTube.
Is that another word? Ah,
What?
has Nitram got it? Oh, no.
No.
But is it close?
No. The final word is actually very difficult. I will say the last word with 11 letters is actually a very hard word. So it might actually be a new word, but something you are reluctant to do, something you don't want to do, something you approach with fear. Fear.
But is it correct up until...
Yes, that's pretty good.
Well, Nitram, that's a very, very good suggestion. And the last word fits. It's not. The last word isn't quite what Mr. Duncan
No.
is looking for, but the sentence works.
Yes. I'll have to give the answer in a minute because we do have to go, unfortunately. So the answer coming up now, yes, I thought this was difficult. I thought earlier when I was preparing this, I thought this is going to be a very difficult one.
2 hours to Cancun.
Apparently it's 2 hours to Cancun.
I just can't think where that is. Trying to picture it in my mind. But anyway. Pedro's been on a long time today. Bye, Pedro. Bye. See you next week.
Get a room.
Right.
Here we go. So the answer is ding.
Ah.
You see, it wasn't courage. It was control. You show control. So control is a kind of courage. So to control yourself is to control your emotions so you don't become afraid. So she showed complete control despite her trepidation. Oh, I love that. That might be today's word of the day. I think so. Trepidation. You are reluctant. You feel a little fearful, cautious. You approach something cautiously. You have trepidation. I like that one. Yes, that's a good word.
But I think Nitram has created a sentence that works perfectly as well. She showed courage despite her temperament.
Well, your temperament, again, is just your behaviour or the way you feel. So, yes, I think that's a good one.
So if your temperament is normally somebody who's a bit shy, you might not expect somebody like that to behave courageously. So that is correct, Nitram. You have actually created a sentence of your own where all the words fit perfectly. So well done. Because some people might have a temperament which is your personality type, isn't it? My temperament is sort of fairly level-headed and sort of temperament. It's how you normally are, isn't it?
Level-headed.
It's how you normally behave. So if you're a shy, if you're sort of a very outgoing person that's always talking a lot, always volunteering for things, you might expect somebody like that to be brave.
I'm still reeling from you describing yourself.
Yeah, well done, Nitram.
Describing yourself as level-headed. I'm level-headed.
That's it.
That's it. Do you want to squeeze another one in? It's 5 past.
We could do a sentence game as well.
Okay.
Very quickly then. I'm feeling a bit faint.
Are you? Oh, do you want to sit down?
I'll be all right, Mr. Duncan.
Do you want to lie down?
I'll brave it out. I'll show courage and continue, even though I'm tired.
I know you do.
Because I've been in the garden. I've done a lot of physical exercise in the garden.
You look very tired.
Yes.
You look very weary and weak.
I do. All my energy feels like it's sapping away.
Going away. It's like it's draining from you.
Always happens towards the end of the live stream. I get tired and it's all the mental energy that I'm using. I'm going to stick it out. If you stick something out, that means that you carry on doing it despite the fact you don't want to.
That's it.
Or you feel as though you don't want to.
You are going to see it through.
See it through. I'm going to stick this out until the end.
By the way, be careful where you stick it out because you might get arrested. We'll have one more and then we will definitely...
Oh, Valentin, yes. Who really has the balls to do this? Yeah, there we go. Right. Mr. Duncan didn't want me using... Right, is that it? They're all difficult today, Mr. Duncan. They're all multi-word sentence games.
Well, they normally are. There's normally at least 3 missing words. So 1, 2, 3, 4 missing words.
Somebody get this quickly, please. Be brave. Just put a suggestion out there so that I can go and sit down with a cup of tea and a tea cake and just put my feet up, as Beatrice says. I need a good afternoon tea and a rest. I
had the something to something myself more something.
Italiana Tolly says hello from Brazil. Well, we've got lots of people watching from Brazil.
Yes.
So you can say hello to all your fellow Brazilians.
Hello, Brazil. Hello also Italy. And hello also to India and Vietnam. And also to, I suppose I might say hello to Indonesia. We do have a lot of people watching there as well.
Actually,
and also the United States. You might be surprised to find out how many people actually watch in the United States. But normally, people in the USA are very quiet, which is very unusual.
Yes, we don't seem to have people watching from the USA, but
Yes.
maybe they're there.
But they always come very high up at the end of the month on my most viewed countries.
Really?
Yes. Anyway, I had the something to something myself more something. So
Talking about the
maybe you are changing your character. You are changing your character. Jimmy from Hong Kong. Jimmy from Hong Kong. Very good.
Mora's close though. Look,
Yes.
just above there.
Yes. Mura and Jimmy. See, I think Jimmy and Mura have only just joined us.
Well, I
because-
said I was going to look up how to pronounce Maora. I think it's Maora.
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 Because being Italian, we need to get that pronunciation. We've been saying Mora, but we were corrected last week.
Okay. So yes,
Maora.
Jimmy and Maora, you are both correct.
Are we pronouncing that correctly? Maora. Please tell us. I can hear a barking dog, Mr. Duncan.
Mm-hmm.
Right, what's the answer?
The answer is, and here it is now coming up on your screens. Bing. Yes, I wish I had the nerve to express myself more openly. So a person who is shy, a person who is introverted, maybe they wish they could be a little bit more open. Maybe they wish they could speak more clearly or have more confidence in their actions when they are amongst other people. I wish I had the nerve to express myself more openly. Well, guess what? If you want to do that, you are in the best place, because we are here every Sunday and also every Wednesday from 2 p.m. UK time. And that is it for today.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan. Thank you to everybody. It's been lovely to be here and to share moments of time with you all.
It's been good.
And I look forward to doing it next week. And I hope you've enjoyed it today. If you have, please don't forget to hit that like button for Mr. Duncan so that his videos get spread around YouTube. That's what you need to do to get Mr. Duncan seen more. And I'll see you in a few moments in the living room. And the weather's not too good today, so I can stay inside and sit down and watch the television.
We're going to watch
without feeling guilty.
We're going to watch Columbo,
Of course.
the old detective who goes around solving murders. So that's what we're doing this afternoon. It sounds very exciting, doesn't it?
Are you ready to fade me away in a professional manner, Mr. Duncan?
Okay, we will fade Mr. Steve away, and I think we will have the outside view as we say goodbye to Mr. Steve until next Sunday.
Adieu. See you all next week.
And he is gone. Mr. Steve has left the building again. I think Steve was getting a bit tired, to be honest. I think so, yes. It's been a very long one, actually. I've just realised it's actually been a very long live stream today. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. We will be back on Wednesday. Wednesday, 2 p.m. UK time is when I am with you next. And I hope you will join me then. And of course, Mr. Steve, who has quite a big fan club. I have to be honest with you, I'm getting a bit jealous because Mr. Steve sometimes gets more fan mail than me. If you want to get in touch, you are more than welcome to do so. And of course, if you want to send a donation, don't forget, everything I do is free. So if you want to send a donation to help me survive in this world, the address is coming up in a moment. Thanks for your company. I'm going now. See you on Wednesday. Thank you for your company. Thank you, Jamelia. Jamelia, it's so nice to see you here. It seems like a long time since I last saw you here, Jamelia. It's nice to see you back where you belong. And I will see you very soon, Jamelia and also everyone else on Wednesday at 2 p.m. UK time. This is Mr. Duncan in the birthplace of English. Of course, that is England, saying thanks for watching, see you soon, take care of yourselves, and of course, until the next time we meet here, you know what's coming next. Yes, you do. Ta-ta for now.